This rat rod has a major design flaw in the engineering. In this video, we're going to find out what that is and see if we can fix it. Stay tuned.
Hey, welcome to Rat Rods. My name's Whalen Wire, and don't ever do what we do here on this channel.
In the last episode, we heard old Whalen say, I'm sure I got it circulated now. I can test the antifreeze. All right, we got, where'd we leave off? Okay, we got the antifreeze checked. We got the timing light on this thing, got the timing set. I just went and got a shorter belt because I was running out of adjustment on this. I got that taken care of. Just wrapping up some little things. Tidied up some wires under the dash that had not been done yet. And there's something that's been bugging me forever, and I got to get it fixed. And you see what I've got is I've got a bell crank system, and I built this deal here, and boy, I got gusset in there and it won't quit, I'm telling you. And then I had to bend this over here a little bit to kind of get away from my throttle, my foot pedal. And so now this is crooked, and I got to heat that up right there and straighten that down a little bit. I don't want to kick it back over that way, but I just want to put a little bit of a twist on it. So level that up, because boy, that's ugly, man. That's ugly. Let's see if we can do anything about that. There we go. Oh, that's so much better. I feel so good about myself now. Man, jump back. Whoo! Well, let's put the nose back on this thing. It might start to look like something. Gotta hook up this wire. This wire goes to my little eyeballs that I put in the ram. I drilled that out and put some LEDs in there. It's kind of cool. Make sure I keep that out of the pulleys. Got a bullet hole in this side, and I can peer right down in there. See exactly where I'm going. Somehow my exhaust cutouts got out of sync. One was opening and one was closing. So I had to get over there and put some power to one of them and switch it, make it go the opposite way. And we'll see if it works now.
One eternity later.
we have issues. The compressor had a bad connection. The pressure switch had a bad connection, so my compressor didn't kick on. I got one fog light that's flopping around. I've got to secure that. That's annoying when you're going down the road, and you gotta have your chicken chasers on, you know, when you're running at night. But I never drive this thing at night, and I don't intend to. Maybe it's just because those sealed beams are hid in behind those 39 Ford lenses. You know, that's not really how they should be set up. It just makes it legal. It's got headlights, so that way I can put it on the road. But I don't have to drive it at night. I don't intend to. I still got one cutout that's not closing. That one over there is not closing. Still got to address that. I'm going to go eat some dinner and see if I feel better about it. And I might come back out and tinker with it tonight. It's 5:30. But man, I feel good. It runs so good. I took it up the road, and oh, it runs good. I mean, that thing will scoot, boy. It will get out from under you. In spite of all this weight, it will get up and run. That old big block is doing this thing. I don't have much oil pressure, and I don't like that. I'm not sure why. When I pulled this engine and replaced all the gaskets and everything, I put a high pressure oil pump in it, and when I first fired it up, it seemed to be doing really good. Had a lot of oil pressure, and now I don't. Now I don't know how that can happen, because you know, I don't think I got bad bearings, but who knows? I mean, that's what it would take, I guess, to have bad oil pressure. And I'm leaking transmission fluid. I think I can smell it, so I got to check the training fluid. But I'll do that after I calm down a little bit. I'm so excited about that thing running, being able to get it out on the road and drive it, and it doesn't quit, it doesn't stop and break down. It goes, runs good. So I don't know for how long with that kind of oil pressure. Oh, when you're in it. It's got oil pressure, but you know, I got another 454 sitting out there. Well, I took this thing up to the top of my canyon and back, and it runs like a scalded hound, boy. I mean, it runs like it used to. But there are issues. We got some issues. I think I'm leaking tranny fluid pretty bad, so I'm gonna start it up and see if I can see where that's coming from. I'm hoping it's coming from pan gasket or the dipstick tube grommet, but gotta look into that. The other thing is, I'm real concerned about this low oil pressure, but because when I had this engine out and went through it and put all the new seals and gaskets and everything in it, I put in a high pressure oil pump, and after I got it back together and started it up, I had real good oil pressure, real high oil pressure. That's not the case anymore. Before we get too excited about that, I'm gonna check the oil and see if it's over full and see if it smells like gasoline. I don't know if in cranking this thing earlier before I got the bugs out of it, before I got that distributor figured out. I'm wondering if maybe I washed the cylinders, you know, got some gas washed through the piston rings into the oil pan. That's what I'm wondering. So I'm going to check into that now, and I'm going to start it up and check the transmission fluid. And you know, it is what it is. If that motor has to come out, well, it ain't the first time I've had it out. And I got another one sitting out here. I got another big block Chevy. We'll do whatever we got to do. And just keep going backwards around here. This thing's come a long way in the last couple days, actually. Close that cutout. I don't know what's going on with it. Trying to figure that out. I think I'm going to change the oil. I think I smell gas in that oil. It feels pretty thin. Well, let's look at this disaster under here. Look at the transmission fluid dripping down, running down that pipe, running down this pipe. It's you know, it could be that pan gasket. It's hard to tell where it's coming from when it's. Well, it didn't show over full if I have the correct dipstick. You know, it didn't show over full, but it smells gassy. We'll put some new oil in it with a little viscosity and see what happens. Okay, I'm using a little bit different oil this time. I usually run Rotilla 5W40 because it has zinc in it. And these old engines need the zinc. I've increased the weight so a little bit. Now I know that there's a fine balance between sufficient oil flow and the proper viscosity to oil the bearings, but on this whole thing, I'm not afraid to go to a 15 weight. I was going to get 10 weight. They didn't have any, but I went to 15 W40. I ain't scared. That's what they tell me. It's not good to just try and increase your oil pressure just by making using the thicker oil. That's what the big boys tell me. The big boys that got me in trouble before, though, too. I was listening to the big boys for about 3 years on my Impala. I took it on that trip across country first time 3 years ago, and it kept pinging, and I just couldn't get rid of that ping, and I stopped halfway there and stopped at O'Reilly's and bought a timing light and hung my camera in a tree and timed that thing on the road. Couldn't get rid of that ping, and everybody, you know, all the big boys said 8 degrees on a small block Chevy, 8 degrees. So that's what I did, and got to Mr. Heavy Chevy's down in South Carolina. I think he's in, and I think we even changed out the vacuum advance or something on that thing, or maybe the whole distributor. I don't remember. Vacuum advance, I believe. Couldn't get rid of the pink. Kept messing with that timing. Well, there's two things that I remember from when I was about 15 years old. There's two things that have stuck with me, and one of them I had kind of put to the back of my mind because I kept listening to the big boys, and everybody said 8 degrees, and it dawned on me one day, it was as clear as a bell, that memory from when I was a kid. Two things. 1-843-6572 has stuck with me all these years, and 4 degrees before top dead center. Because when I was in high school, that's what I had. That was my high school rig. My senior year rig was that 63 Impala. Had a 283 in it. 4 degrees before top dead center. So finally, I conceded. and I quit listening to the big boys, and I set that Impala at 4 degrees. When Frank and I were in Michigan, we set it. We had to reset that intake, so we had the distributor out anyway. So when we set the timing, we backed that thing down to about 3.5 degrees, and it doesn't ping. It's got plenty of zip, and it starts, and it's perfect. So sometimes them big boys get you in trouble, just like in high school. You know, you don't always want to listen to them big boys. Trust your gut. I'm gonna fire this thing up and check the Earl. At idle last night, my oil pressure was 0. And running it was 30. So right now, it's 60. So I think that was the issue. I think I washed a bunch of gasoline into the oil. So that's good news. Now the bad news is, let me show you the bad news. Okay, here's my dilemma. The guy who designed and built this truck from the ground up is not a mechanical engineer. He's just a little old Archie with a high school education and some little bit of technical college. So, his abilities are limited. And what's going on here is a major design flaw. That is the fact that you cannot get this transmission pan off without pulling the engine, as things are right now. It'll drop down, but it won't come out. You can't get a new gasket on there. And I suspect that's where most of my leak is coming from, because I had tried to reseal that. I discovered that when I tried to reseal that or change the gasket before and couldn't. So I just resealed it as best I could, which was not the very best, apparently. Now, there's a chance that I could take the driveline out and jack up the back of that transmission. Now, how much, I don't know. Probably not much. I don't think my motor mounts is going to give me a whole lot. There's room for that engine to tilt forward, but I don't think there's enough give on the engine mounts. And plus, I'd have to take all my exhaust loose. So I think the better option is to redesign some stuff. See how these pipes, I've got a mounting point here. Now I don't want these any closer to the exhaust. As a matter of fact, if they were inboard even more, it wouldn't hurt, but I think that's okay. I header wrapped these, and then I built a heat shield to go in here too, and I think we're okay there. But this has another mounting point on the back side of this cross member here. I think what I'm going to do is detach those and make them bolt on so that I can pull that pipe out of there and drop that pan down. I think that if I can drop that one side down, I can get it out of there, but I may be wrong. But before I pull the engine, I'm sure going to try. And if I have to change this one too, if I have to pull this one out, I can. It's mounted also on the back side of this cross member, but it's hard mounted up in there. Well, you know, I can change that too. Anything's possible. If I have to do that, I will. That's better than pulling the engine. It's going to be a lot of hard work. Whatever you do, it's going to be a lot of hard work. But you know, I ain't no sissy. If you're going to do this stuff, you got to man up. You know, you just got to man up. So I think I'm just going to man up and get after it. I mean, there's no better time than the present. Yeah, I'd like to be working on that over there, and I will. But you know, even if I had to pull the engine in this thing, I got to thinking about it last night. I go, well, it's a day to get it out. And it's 2 days maybe to fix whatever you need to do and get it back in. Seems to go slower putting them one back together than it does tearing them apart. You can just rip and sling stuff, you know, when you're tearing them apart. But anyway, I think it's going to be a good truck, you know, once I get it lined out. All new front suspension. Look at all that. New tires and the whole deal. Whoa, jump back. Whoo, man, we'd be styling. Alright, this ain't gonna be so bad, you know. Just making a few cuts and making some little brackets, and I love fabricating anyway, so the biggest part of it's gonna be getting the water out of it. I gotta save it, because I got antifreeze in it. I went to all that trouble to put antifreeze in it, now I gotta drain it. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I don't know how much it holds. I gained almost 3 gallons, I think, just in the length of those 2 pipes. I think that's what I figured out. Which helps with the cooling. I suppose, more volume, why not? Sounds good in theory, don't it? I hope most of that runs down my armpit. Caught most of it. All right, before we get too excited and take this other pipe out, let's just see if that will give enough access to let that pan drop down far enough to get off the filter. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of doubtful, but let's see. Let's look into it. Let's investigate it. I'm gonna make a mess. I'm fixing to make a mess. Whoa! Whoa! What happened? Oh, it's all gonna go in the floor, and ain't nothing I can do about it. The good news is I don't have to take that other pipe out. The bad news is I lost some tranny fluid, but I got a whole bunch of it sitting over there on the shelf. So we ain't gonna worry about that too much. All right, I'm gonna clean that up and put a new gasket on it. First I gotta go clean up before I can touch the camera. You know, I don't drink, but if I did, I would absolutely drink beer with this guy. The guy who had this truck before me, or somebody back down the line. My kind of guy, boy, I'll tell you what. He drilled a hole in this pan so he could drain the ATF out and then brazed it back shut. Huh, I like it. That looks pretty sanitary. I got to put my pipe back in now. Try to get my coolant back in. Well, I'm okay with that. I think I'm going to shut it down for tonight. I don't know what time it is, but it's probably about 8 or so, and I'm getting kind of tired. So I'll do kind of a similar thing back here, a little something something. I'm not sure what yet, but yeah, we'll do a little something something back here. And I may not hang it from there. I'm probably going to hang it from here, somewhere around here, maybe. I don't need much, do I? Anyway, yeah, that'll be much nicer to have that so I can take it out if I ever need to service that transmission. Or if somebody down the road needs to. I probably never will. I'm sure this thing will live longer than I do. But anyway, I'll see y'all in the morning.
Come find some relief. Listen to the It's Been a Minute podcast on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts.
On Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, famous actors remember their days of obscurity, like when Pedro Pascal remembered the stress of the logistical labor of everyone's needs in the right manner, and the Act 1, the water.
Kids, everything's a hint. Puzzle. And maybe even
Matchsticks.
Match. Wood. That's toothpick. You don't want kids playing with match.
All right, that's good enough for that. Let's address that exhaust cutout issue. Well, I discovered that my electric cutout was unplugged up in the wire loom from all the messing with it, having it hang there and hang from the wire while I was doing that starter, bumping into it, all that. So I plugged it back in, and then I zip tied the loom on each end so it can't vibrate apart and come apart again. Let's get this thing down and get some fluids in it. I did not know about these funnels until Cousin Balin wire turned me on to these. That makes a tight sealed air And it's real good for bleeding the air out of the system, because this is the highest point in the whole system. And then I've got another fail-safe little unit that I installed. Sometimes I'll leave the front arms off the lift, pick up the back end and tilt everything forward. I've got this little petcock right here I can open up and bleed in the air out the top. So that's important. Gotta get that air out. And I gotta mix up some antifreeze. See the air bubbles coming out of it. See the air coming out of there. I think I got all the air out of it. I've got an exhaust beak. I'll show you. But it's not the electronic exhaust. This side is closed. Everything's good. You can hear it leaking over here. But it's not the exhaust valve. It is header gasket. So I gotta put that brace on that starter anyway. To put that brace on that starter, I have to pull that header. So I'll put a new gasket on it when I do that. This thing is running really cool. I don't even have the fans on. I brought it up to about 190. Just make sure the thermostat was open. And then I kicked on the electric water pump. She dropped right back down to about 160. I still see a couple of bubbles coming out of there, so that's good. I'm gonna let it run. Purge all the air out of it. That funnel system, that's a really good deal. Thank you for that, Tony. I did not know about those things. Right down there at O'Reilly's. Yeah, still bubbles coming out. But I got a lot out of the engine with that petcock up there. Anyway, I don't even have the fans running. And it's sitting here at about 170, 160 or something like that. 170. I'm going to kick the fans on, but I probably only need one fan. I believe I've got a 180 thermostat in it. But I mean, it's open. I might set these fans up so I could just turn just one on. I'm not sure I need both of them all the time. Unless I'm going up hills. Still getting a bubble once in a while. That's good. Unless I got a blown head gasket. Well, I think we got it. No more bubbles. No blown head gaskets. Okay, I may have to separate out those fans, put them on a separate switch, because the deal is this thing was overheating. It never overheat. Driving in town, I could set at a stoplight when it's 105 degrees out, it would not overheat. The only time it ever would overheat was coming up this canyon to my house. See, I'm at Wenatchee's 800 feet elevation and I'm at 2370 in a 5-mile run. So that's pretty steep. And my part of my road down here is 10% grade. So by the time I'd get home, it'd always be about 220. Not for very long, but that last part of that climb would get hot. And so I did not have an electric water pump on it, and I think that's going to make a lot of difference, because you know that electric pump doesn't care how hard the engine's working. It's going to do its thing. So right now, after sitting there and coming up to temp and getting all the air out of it and just sitting there running, right now temps is sitting at 160, and I don't think I've got a 160 thermostat in it. I might have to look and see, but in order to keep it running. I mean, going down the road, it might even run cooler. Going downhill anyway. So, in order to keep it at running at temperature, I may have to unhook one of those fans and just kick on one at a time. Might not need them both. I talked to Peace and Grease. Y'all check out Peace and Grease if you don't know their channel. They're a couple in Ohio, I think, that are doing. He's building some. They're building some crazy stuff right now. He's putting I think he's got a cab over. He's putting 2 engines behind the cab. But he's got this rig called Dick Banjo, and it's quite a rig. And he had the radiator way back here, because I talked to him about this. But I know they do this. They do this in the mud trucks. I know it works. When I've done all kinds of things. I had 2 radiators running in tandem, but one of them was kind of blocking air from the other one getting air, and I don't know. I know there's a void behind that cab, but still it's open all underneath and it should get air. Anyway, I talked to him about that, and he's got his right back here on the back end, and he said he doesn't even run. He's got 2 fans on it, and he doesn't even run one of them. Rarely runs one of them. So, or rarely runs both of them, I think is how it goes. But this thing ran cool for a long time, just circulating water without even kicking the fans on, because when I put those pipes that you saw me working on earlier, I calculated out how long they are and the diameter and everything, and I added almost 3 gallons of water to my system, which is a good thing, I think. Anyway, I'm very pleased right now until something else goes wrong. Let's get this thing up in the air and make sure that that transmission pan's not leaking or anything, and yeah, see if we still got tranny fluid coming from somewhere else. I think that's where most of it was coming from, was out of that pan. Well, I haven't been under there yet. We're both going to see it at the same time, but what I see here is a little tank up here. And before, if it ran that long, there'd be a great big puddle. And this could be just the residue that's coming off the torque converter, slinging off the torque converter. I see a drip on the bottom. I'll try and dry it off as best I can. But that front seal may be leaking a little bit. I think I changed that, you know. I think I did. What I'm looking at here is not fluid. That's that sealer that I put on the bottom of that gasket. I'm just sure that gasket's not leaking. So I guess the front seal's leaking. I'm pretty sure I replaced it. Pretty sure, but I got fluid coming from somewhere. Google said to clean it really good and then put baby powder on the gasket so you can see where it's leaking, but wouldn't you know it, I'm fresh out of baby powder. Doggone it. That's how it always goes, ain't it? Well, it's everywhere. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's everywhere. I just don't think it's coming out of that gasket though. That feels really good and dry on top, on the top of the edge of the gasket. What I thought was fluid is the sealer that I put on the bottom. I guess I wasn't even supposed to do that according to Google, but I don't always listen to Google. I just don't think that's leaking. I got to figure out a way to find out. Well, I can't hold the camera and do everything I need to do, so I'm going to clean it up real good and start it up and lift it up, see if we can see where it's coming from. Well, that pan does not appear to be leaking. I wonder if it's still just residue coming from off of that torque converter, or at least before. Oh, Waylon, you forgot to turn the fuel pump on, buddy. Alright guys, I think this is where I'm going to leave this one. I'm going to bleed the brakes and take it for a test drive. That'll probably be coming up in another video, but I got something else on the next one we're going to see. But I'm happy with the progress on this thing. Yeah, a little bit of transmission leak, but we'll get to the bottom of it. and it's not leaking like it was anyway, so that's a good deal. All right, thanks for hanging out with me.
When you think you're the coolest guy in the parking lot, and then this guy shows up.
Okay, fellers and fellerettes, that's enough. That's enough for this one. But I really do want to thank you for taking time out of your day to watch my little video and coming and hanging out here in the shop with me, spending some time here. It means a lot to me. I really enjoy our time together here in the shop. It's really fun. So thank you again, and you know, hopefully I'll be back real soon right here on Whalen Wire's Old Iron. And as always, I sure do appreciate you.